Hey, it's Nerd Fact time, this time about 1993's Demolition Man. Some of you out there may remember this line.
You do not realize that Taco Bell was the only restaurant to survive the franchise wars.
Or if you do not recognize that, you may recognize this line.
You do not realize that Pizza Hut was the only restaurant to survive the franchise wars.
See, the mention of Taco Bell was only really valid in the US. But Taco Bell is not famous internationally, meaning that a lot of people watching the film would not have recognized Taco Bell as a restaurant. So the international release of the film included Pizza Hut instead. Probably because both franchises share a parent company, Yum China, or Yum Brands. So the only alteration they had to make to the film was some poorly dubbed dialogue and some CGI. Nerd facts this time about Star Wars. Darth Vader might be one of the most powerful characters in all of Star Wars, but he was in fact defeated by none other than Grand Moff Tarkin. You see, in early days of the Empire, Darth Vader got pretty bored because there were no Jedi to fight. He had no real opponent to challenge his strength. Tarkin, on the other hand, had great experience of wilderness survival and a finely tuned military mind. So the plan was set. Tarkin went to a planet of his choice with a group of bounty hunters and military personnel who he felt might be helpful in a fight against Vader. All what Vader had was his cloak, his armor, and his lightsaber. Tarkin spent weeks camping, studying Darth Vader from a distance. Slowly his entire party is killed off. Tarkin was always able to keep one step ahead, even removing the lightsaber from Vader's grip. The final showdown between the two ended in a literal chase through the jungle, ending in an open plain where Vader thinks he's about to defeat Tarkin. A bolt of lightning shoots down and takes out Vader's life support system. That was Tarkin's entire plan, leading Vader somewhere where the lightning will take him out. Time for some more nerd facts. Barry Allen, the Flash, a fastest man alive. We all know his origin story pretty well. Working in a forensic lab, a freak bolt of lightning hits him and he gets coated in chemicals, granting him the power of super speed. Did you know that bolt of lightning was in fact the Flash himself? In 1986, during issue 8 of Crisis on Infinite Earth, the Flash fought up against the Anti-Monitor. The Anti-Monitor was on the verge of victory with a device that destroyed the entire universe and multiverse with it. With no time to spare, the Flash ran so quickly he was able to dismantle the machine in basically no time at all. The only problem was he ran a little bit too quick and went back in time. As he went back in time, he was able to catch glimpses of different iconic DC characters, eventually turning into nothing more than pure energy that hit Barry Allen. Okay, granted, DC has changed origin stories of characters many times and this definitely doesn't hold up anymore. Hey, I always like the idea of the Flash always existing because the Flash always needs to exist. He is literally a force of the universe. And for some more nerd facts, this time about Iron Man, Tony Stark more specifically. One of Tony Stark's biggest fears in the comic books is his technology falling into the wrong hands and being used for nefarious deeds. Those wrong hands include his own. He was feared that one day he will become evil, or at the very least selfish, greedy, and power hungry. What does a man of technology do to plan against his own corruption? Well, he backs up his brain. He literally uploads his consciousness ready to be downloaded back to his body in the event that he becomes evil or less desirable. He then wipes his own mind so he forgets that this backup exists. This version of his backed up mind comes from the very early times in his career as Iron Man. The one who has the second incarnation of the Iron Man suit after the big old bulky grey one. Version of himself that feels the true passion of being Iron Man at a time where he realised that that was his destiny before he forget his own path. Time for some more nerd facts, this time about the Crown Prince of Crime himself, the Joker. In 1940, Batman issue 1 came out and this was the first canon appearance of the Joker as we know him. His first appearance before this was as the Red Hood, but this was actually meant to be his very last appearance. Throughout this issue, the Joker is murdering, killing, and using the Joker Venom, which became the Joker Toxin down the line. After being confronted by Batman and robbing the boy Wonder, the Joker decides to, in fact, kill himself, stab himself with a knife. And that is literally it. The Joker is dead, and his character laid to rest. Until at least 1941, with the story Tricksters Wanted. Joker has returned and put out an ad for Tricksters. The only thing is, we have no idea how he came back. There had been no stories about his resurrection, revival, return, or anything like that. It shows up one day and seems like no one questioned it. But on August 25th of this year, we may potentially get an answer. It will be in the form of Jeff Jones's Three Jokers. If you want me to talk about the Three Jokers, then, let me know. Time for some more nerd facts, this time about Lego and its connection to Star Wars. Of course, we're all very familiar with the Lego minifigure. Its head is incredibly iconic. In 1999, a Jar Jar Binks minifigure was released and is the very first of its kind to have an alternate head design. The same is also true with C-3PO, which was released around the same time. You notice his head is obviously different to the standard yellow head. Oh, but we're not done there, because Star Wars also had an impact on other aspects of the LEGO minifig. In 2002, a Yoda minifigure was released that featured notably shorter legs. Shorter legs were actually becoming incredibly important to future LEGO sets, such as hobbits from Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And obviously, Ewoks from Star Wars, half elves from Harry Potter, children characters like Anakin Skywalker. If you like that nerd fact, why not check out more on my channel? Follow, click that plus, click that heart, click that share, and comment. Until I see you next time. Bye for now. Oh, and check out my YouTube. There's a link in my bio. Darius the Nerd. And for more nerd facts, this time I got a request about Darth Maul. We're all very familiar with this scene where Darth Maul stabs Qui-Gon Jinn through the stomach/heart and kills him. But this is not actually the first Jedi Darth Maul's killed. Meet Elder Catrius, a name I may have potentially butchered. A few years before the Phantom Menace, Darth Maul was getting very anxious. He really wanted to kill a Jedi, but Darth Sidious wouldn't allow it. Then Darth Maul received word that a crime syndicate had kidnapped and was selling a Padawan learner. But he couldn't go in as a Sith because that would ruin Darth Sidious's plan, so he had to be a bit sneaky. So teaming up with the Padawan to destroy enough of the crime syndicate that nobody was able to tell that story. So alone they had a final showdown, which obviously Darth Maul won, but he did it with respect and understanding, although killing a Padawan didn't actually satisfy his need to kill a Jedi. Find out more about this in the 5-part Darth Maul comic, which I would highly recommend. Time for some more nerd facts, and as we all know, Gotham City has quite a roster of very strange characters. But do you know those characters also include the Looney Tunes? You see, in 2017, DC Comics did a series of crossovers with Looney Tunes. And this featured one of the best standalone Batman stories I have ever read, Batman Elmer Fudd. The comic included characters like Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, and of course Elmer Fudd himself. This man is an expert with a shotgun and can take on the Batman. Although this is a one-shot story, locations and characters do reappear. For example, Porky Pig's pub, Porky's Place, makes a reappearance later on in the Batman series, including Porky Pig himself still behind the bar. Even Bugs Bunny reappears as a spineless, low-life henchman. There we go, there's some nerd facts about Looney Tunes and DC Comics, and all I can say now is, that's all folks. Time for some more nerd facts, and did you know Breaking Bad is about this close to being canon with the MCU? See, the second to last season of Breaking Bad was filmed in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Incredibly close to the set where they were filming parts of the Avengers movie. Mel Jackson, who played Nick Fury, wanted to go and visit the set of Breaking Bad and just order chicken. He just wanted to be in the background in Pablo Armando's chicken establishment. Of course wearing his iconic Nick Fury outfit, eye patch and all. So my question to it is, would the Avengers have stopped Heisenberg? To be fair, probably would have made a better season of The Defenders against a new Mexican crime syndicate led by Heisenberg himself. That would be pretty cool. Hey, if you like this, why not check out other nerd facts? Follow my channel, click the little plus, heart, share. Go to my YouTube, Instagram. Links are in my bio. And let me know what type of facts you're interested in seeing. Until I see you next time. Bye for now. Time for some more nerd facts. This time about 2018 Searching. This episode is brought to you by Sleepy Cody. So if you're unaware, the film Searching from 2018 is all done from the perspective of a computer screen. You get a full perspective of literally everything being seen by the main character, even though not quite first person view. You very much get a view like this with news articles down the side, the news feed there, chat boxes, all of it. But hidden within these sidebar news stories and related videos, we actually do see there's an alien invasion. So although the main plot is about a man trying to find his missing daughter, we see little news articles about interesting lights, about NASA's head scientist leaving, and related videos about sightings of aliens. Although by the end of the film, this alien invasion does not get a resolution, although I assume it's fine because, humanity's still about at the end. Now, click that plus, heart, share, yes. Time for some more nerd facts. Did you know Deadpool is a Guinness World Record holder? No, it's not a record of limbs lost or puns given, it's actually to do with his wedding. In 2017, Deadpool got married in issue 27 of Deadpool. And this is the 2-page cover they did for it. It features 232 individual characters. And these aren't just random people. Every single person in this wedding is an actual Marvel character. My favourite part of the cover is actually Squirrel Girl being one of the bridesmaids. Beside this, we've got different versions of Thor, like Beat Ray Bill, Odin, obviously Thor himself, Hercules, Wolverine and Captain America being best men. We've got Spider-Man, we've got the likes of Deadpool T-Rex, we've got the Hulk over here, we've got the weird version of X-Men that are kids, we've got the X-Men themselves, including Phoenix. Heck, even the Watcher is here. I mean, I guess he's always going to be at the wedding, but hey, he's cool. Now click the plus and heart for Deadpool's sake. Time for some more nerd facts to talk about Black Panther and his marriage. During the time of the first Marvel Civil War, T'Challa and Wakanda decided they didn't want to be involved in the superhero infighting. Instead, his main focus was his marriage to none other than Storm from the X-Men. Events after the wedding, though, could have gone slightly better. After being given a set of magic frogs, Human Torch, The Thing, Storm, and Black Panther end up in a different dimension inhabited by the Marvel zombies. Come back in October for more information about them. Of course, they survive and make it back to Earth 616, the main Marvel universe. But alas, the marriage between Storm and Black Panther didn't last all that long. T'Challa realised his priority as king and protector of Wakanda took precedence over his marriage to Storm. Their marriage was nullified and they took separate paths with an understanding for each other, realising they're both protectors of their own people. It is sad to realise that these stories won't be told in the cinematic universe with the recent passing of Chadwick Boseman. Time for some more nerd facts, and it turns out Willy Wonka is a dirty old man. Sure, we all remember 1971's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and the amazing inventions throughout his factory. This of course includes the lickable wallpaper, and to be fair, all wallpaper is lickable, but this was special. It is wallpaper with printed images that if you lick the appropriate image, you taste the fruit is an image of. It's quite obvious. One of the fruits printed, though, is a snozberry. What's a snozberry, you ask? Well, this is something we find out 15 years later in a book named My Uncle Oswald by Roald Dahl himself. This book is a bit more adult. A book about Oswald Coldless, aka the greatest fornicator of all time. And the term snozberry refers to a very particular part of the male anatomy. So try and watch that scene again in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and realise that they were tasting male components. Forgetting this wallpaper was designed for nurseries, it gets a bit disgusting at that. For some nerd facts, it's about Hamilton, but specifically about LinManuel. His face becoming incredibly iconic in pop culture, because his face actually pops up a lot more before this. First of all, a role which many of you probably already know, from Mary Poppins Returns, he plays Jack, the modern day equivalent to Bert. So I'm very happy if LinManuel becomes the modern day Dick Van Dyke. He also played Lee Scoresby in the actually good adaptation of His Dark Materials on the BBC. Honestly, he just has the charisma to play such a character. He played a slightly smaller role in Brooklyn Nine-Nine as David Santiago, the brother to Amy Santiago. I don't know why, but I always like it when such a small role is played by such a big name. He also played a character called Gus in How I Met Your Mother for one episode. He was one of the passengers on the incredibly long coach journey which Marshall had to take. I don't remember too much about the details though. He played a character called Gilmore on Modern Family. I don't know, I never watched the show, but there's a dog. And he also played one Alvarez in House, a patient in a psychiatric hospital who wants to be a rapper. And returned to find out how he helped create one of the greatest modern day Disney movies. Guess what? We probably would not have had this if not for this. When Disney came back to making Moana, they had a very specific sound in mind. They wanted to mix traditional South Pacific music with a Broadway edge. They called upon the help of LinManuel, the guy behind Hamilton. Sidebar, I'm sorry about any of the following names I butcher. Composer Mark Mancina. Also have Tokalon singer-songwriter Opetar Ferai, pronunciation, really sorry. These three men put together the song We Know the Way back in 2013. Around about the same time, Manuel was actually developing and starring in the Broadway musical Hamilton. LinManuel also made some demos for Moana starring cast from Hamilton, including Philippa Sue, Christopher Jackson, Bernice Ellis Goldsberry, and Marcy Harley's from In the Heights. So LinManuel featured in a version of You're Welcome by Jordan Fisher. Honestly, check out on YouTube, it's really quite good. Honestly, there's so much more to this story, it's absolutely fascinating. So I really am sorry for the butchering of names, I am dyslexic. Oh, and you're welcome. Time for some more nerd facts, and let's talk about Yoda Lore George Lucas never wanted us to have. In the early stages of Star Wars, Topps was granted the right to produce the official Star Wars trading cards. Very familiar with these cards, often featuring screenshots from the movies or character pieces such as this. And in 1994, Topps wanted to produce a special promo card to go alongside the Star Wars Galaxies card set 2. Jeez, his name just rolls the tongue. But the card in question was actually removed from production by Lucasfilm itself, and here it is. It clearly shows it has Yoda's species doing a ritual around a shrine. Lucasfilm wanted this removed from production, most likely because it features history of a species which they didn't want to divulge. It is not believed that this card was based on any kind of information given to Topps by Lucasfilms. And since this card was removed from production, and Lucasfilms do not officially endorse it, it's not considered Legends or canon. Yet this is probably the closest we've ever come to actually finding anything about Yoda's history and his species. But who knows, maybe we'll find something out in October. I absolutely love the Stan Lee cameos in the Marvel movies. I mean, yeah, they're good, but I prefer the OG. The OG? Who are you talking about? Colonel Sanders. I'm not even joking, honestly. Between 1967 and 1970, Colonel Sanders appeared as himself in several low-budget B-movies. He got these roles by offering free catering to the cast and crew of these movies. Naturally, the food he offered was KFC. In exchange, all he wanted was a cameo role and some advertisement for KFC itself. For example, in the movie Sphinx, he is seen as himself dishing out KFC from the signature bucket. And in Hell's Bloody Devils, you can see they are in fact in a KFC itself, personally being served by the Colonel, iconic bucket and chicken and all. Now I've done something for you, do something for me. Click that plus, heart, and share this video. Let the algorithm know that this content is good. If the algorithm thinks it, I might be able to convince myself. Hey, it's time for some more Nerd Facts, and this time I'm talking about Minecraft. Apparently it's 2009, my god, Minecraft is old. My god, I'm old. If you ever played Minecraft, you're probably incredibly familiar with the Creeper, the surprisingly unique mob for the game. Well, its iconic design was actually by accident. Obviously with its iconic body, legs and head positioning, and yes, it definitely does look like that. But the reason it looks like that is because originally it was a pig. See, when the pig mob was being designed, they put two numbers wrong way round. Essentially, the length of the body and the height of the body was swapped around. So essentially giving us an elongated pig, and the colour palette makes it look much worse. But being quite interested in how it looked, they decided that, why not make it a mob in itself, and thus the Creeper was born. Now, why not click that plus, heart, share, comment, trick the algorithm into thinking I'm a good content creator. We all know about our favourite gene splice rodents, Pinky and the Brain, but did you know about Larry? In 1997, the writers of Pinky and the Brain were put under pressure by Warner Bros. Kids to add additional characters. They wanted to turn the iconic duo of Pinky and the Brain into a trio. The writers were none too impressed, and considering the sarcastic tendencies throughout the show, they took this as an opportunity to kind of poke fun. So for one episode named Pinky and the Brain and Larry, they introduced the character Larry. Modeled after the character of the same name from the Three Stooges, Larry is just that. Literally no real personality trait, added nothing to the episode, and constantly just reminded us that he exists. It also included an alternate version of the opening in which Larry's name is forcefully inserted after Pinky and the Brain. After that, he made no future appearances except for in a reunion episode many years down the line. Although the writers of Pinky and the Brain did experiment with different character setups later, this was a sign that the writers know what they're doing. Click that plus, heart, comment, share. Season 2 of Mandalorian is going to feature one Boba Fett. The only thing is, this is not Boba Fett. It's time for some more nerd facts. As you're probably aware, in Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett and Jabba's yacht both fell into the Sarlacc pit. But the Star Wars Aftermath trilogy explained that falling into the Sarlacc pit actually cut it open. This meant loads of undissolved technology has spewed out into the deserts of Tatooine. As you can imagine, it is a dream for Jawas. And a group of these Jawas in fact found a suit of armour as it popped, but empty. We can't really account for the body of Boba Fett, but his armour was taken in by the Jawas and eventually sold. Sold to a man named Cobb Vanth. With his armour on, he planned to bring law and order to Tatooine in the vacuum of Jabba's death. With the help of Malachi, Jabba the Hutt's old beast trainer. Why does he need a beast trainer inside? Well, to help him train a Hutt. Specifically a baby Hutt. They have made a plan to put a Hutt on top of Tatooine again, except for it's basically going to be their child. And hey, while I got your attention, why not click that plus, heart, share, comment. Let me know what you like. Trick the algorithm. It's time for the Nerf Vaccinator, this time about Perry the Platypus. I wanted to do the voice, but it would not have gone well. Perry the Platypus is obviously a very peculiar species, and that is for good reason. See, Dan Meyer and Jeffrey Marsh wanted to pick something that was actually quite uncommon. Let's face it, throughout the history of TV, a platypus was never really the pet. It meant the showrunners could have a character that was not tied down by preconceptions of what a platypus should be. And the next part I actually really love. Meyer and Marsh wanted to pick an animal which could not just be taken from a pet store. Animal which kids couldn't beg their parents for because you can't really adopt or buy a platypus. And looking at the results from movies like Finding Nemo and Anything with Witches, animals are not having a good time. So the end result is a beloved animal which cannot be damaging to its own species. Whenever I do Nerf Vaccinator, as much research as possible, but nothing compares from hearing it from the horse's mouth. So since Dan Pollmeyer is on this app, why not tag him in the comments and see if he can confirm what I just said.